Coming up next, how you can accelerate innovation, reduce costs, and increase business agility in the market.
Don't panic. I'm you. I came back from the future to say thank you. You're welcome. You chose the right cloud solution. When you needed to manage applications across your private and public clouds, you were ready. I was.
Choose Microsoft Private Cloud Solutions. Built for the future. Ready now.
Time's up.
Definitely, but I think that... You know what? Let me call you back. Hey, you. It's me. You from the future. We need to talk private cloud. Oh. You want to see inside your apps, right? Yes. Spot and fix problems? Yeah. Then you gotta go beyond virtualization. Today.
Choose Microsoft Private Cloud Solutions. Built for the future. Ready now.
I wouldn't do that if I were you.
What? No! No!
I know, it's crazy. Calm down. I'm you, with a message from the future.
The future?
Over the next 2 years, you're gonna have to double your capacity.
That sounds expensive.
Go with the private cloud solution that doesn't charge per VM.
That sounds smart.
Choose Microsoft Private Cloud Solutions. Built for the future. Ready now.
Like that suit.
Want one? You got one.
Oh.
Hello and welcome. Today we're here to discuss one of the biggest transformations in the business and technology world today, cloud computing. Not just a new way to do old things, but rather a new way to accomplish new things. Cloud computing is changing the way we think about IT. It's changing the way we do IT. But what does this really mean? Beyond helping companies become more agile and innovative, cloud computing is economical, driving efficiencies in both costs and utilization. Clearly, a lot of opportunity, but like any other major transformation, it also raises many questions, which is why we're here today. Hello, I'm Christine Chen, your host for our virtual event. Thank you so much for joining us. We're here to help explore the opportunities with cloud computing. We're going to hear from Microsoft executives, customers, and key partners. We're also going to focus on private cloud and reveal some pretty exciting news. So let me fill you in on today's agenda. We have with us today the President of Server and Tools Business, Satya Nadella, and Corporate Vice President of Management and Security, Brad Anderson. They're going to be telling us about Microsoft's cloud computing strategy, including private cloud announcements. We will hear from customers who are making the move to private cloud right now. And coming up, we'll have a panel discussion with Brad, Microsoft IT Vice President Jackie Wright, and Chief Executive Officer with Convergent Computing, Rand Morimoto. Let's talk about the opportunities and considerations, shall we, with private cloud computing. And finally, you're going to get to experience the Microsoft Private Cloud in action through the Microsoft Technology Center. Now, a couple of quick housekeeping items. To help you get the very most out of this event, we've gathered a group of Microsoft subject matter experts in our chat room. They're going to be online throughout the entire virtual event to answer any questions you might have. So just log into the chat room, fire away. Anything you want to ask, promise they're going to get to you. You can also follow us on Twitter at MSF Team Enterprise, at Microsoft Enterprise, and hashtag is Microsoft Private Cloud, MSFT Private Cloud. We'd love to hear your feedback via Twitter on the event today, and at any time, please click the link below to complete the evaluation for a chance to win Xbox 360 Connect. Finally, this entire virtual event will be available on demand right here, right after the event wraps. So, let's get this thing started. Let's dig in. We are honored to have two leaders in this space right here at Microsoft. Satya Nadella. He's responsible for overall business and vision for Microsoft's $17 billion servers and tools business. And we have Brad Anderson, leader of the global team tasked with helping organizations reduce costs and drive business forward. Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning. Good morning.
Thank you very much for being here. This is exciting.
Thank you.
Yeah, so let's start with you, Satya. What is this transformation all about? Let's really just chat about it for just a moment.
super exciting time. If you think about the infrastructure business, really it's driven by applications. So we are going through this massive sea change in terms of the applications that our customers are building.
Just a big shift in the industry.
A big shift
really.
from client-server to this world of continuous services and connected devices. So that's how we characterize these new kinds of applications. And you can see it with the proliferation of devices, PCs, slates, smartphones, embedded systems, all of these sensors all over the world that are connected. So that requires a new kind of infrastructure on the back end to be able to run these applications and services that sort of service all of these devices.
I think that you make a very important point when you say the word connected. It's expected now that everything syncs together and everything works harmoniously and orchestrated well. Is that correct?
No, absolutely. And
it's the way to do business.
And you have to really get the infrastructure right that is enabling you to build out the services that are continuously available, if you will, and drive home some of the benefits of this new infrastructure. So that's where the cloud design point. So today we're talking about the private cloud, and this is really reflects a huge change from, or a step forward from virtualization to the next level. To be able to enable a business to be much more focused about their applications, be much more agile in terms of how they can scale their infrastructure, and then, of course, get the operational and economic benefits that they really are looking to.
Right, and moving toward the future, always important with IT. Well, in that context, I understand you have some pretty significant news to share.
Absolutely. Today is a big, big day for us when it comes to private cloud and System Center.
Tell us more.
System Center is really the cornerstone product for us, along with Windows Server, when it comes to enabling our customers to build out their private cloud. So today, we're announcing the availability of System Center 2012 release candidate. We already have many customers who have deployed over 100,000 virtual machines using our early access releases. But today, we're pleased to get the release candidate out and enable the next wave of private cloud building by our customers.
Yeah.
And this product itself is a major step forward. It represents the coming together of 8 products into one suite. We've also taken an approach where we think about the application first, because when you talk about infrastructure, really you're not building infrastructure in isolation, you're building it in support of your application needs. And really System Center 2012 is all about the application and the application needs and the ability of the IT professional to be able to look inside the application.
Yeah, so this enhancement, this moving in this direction, pretty exciting, but I think this might still be a little bit intimidating to some. Cloud computing is still a direction that people are really moving, some moving more slowly, some moving more quickly. What challenges are you hearing from customers as they consider cloud computing?
You know, more than challenges, one of the key things that our customers are really looking to get out of their infrastructure is the ability to scale it to meet their demands. If you think about this proliferation of devices we talked about, or the proliferation of applications, the key challenge really is about being able to keep up. So if you look at even what has happened in the beta releases of our products, System Center 2012 has been deployed by a variety of our customers. In fact, T. Rowe Price, a big investment firm, Lufthansa Systems, and Unilever are great examples of people who have taken System Center and built out this private cloud.
And we're going to see those stories a little
Absolutely.
bit later,
And the unprecedented, I mean, T. Rowe Price, for example, is projecting something like 25% growth in their server infrastructure. And the only way to keep up with that kind of growth is to be able to deploy new systems that enable you to scale without really the operational issues or the complexities.
This is a major shift, so I'd like to bring Brad into this conversation. What exactly does this mean? I mean, he laid out a little bit of the case here for making this move, but what does this really mean for IT professionals all across the country and around the globe?
Yeah, you know, one of the interesting things about how we designed and built System Center 2012 was we had what I would say is the most fertile ground of anywhere in the world to go learn. You know, at Microsoft, we operate many of the world's largest services. You know, think about Bing and Hotmail and Communicator, all these services. So as we were defining it, we spent time in there, and we saw some really fascinating things that we do in our cloud services, and we wanted to bring that to the private cloud to IT. You know, one of the data points that I really like to kind of dive into when I meet with customers is I like to get this understanding of how many servers they have, how many full-time employees they have, and it gives me kind of a ratio. I can kind of get an idea of how efficient and how effective they are. And, you know, in corporate IT, in the enterprise, I generally see this ratio of kind of through 30 or 40 to 1, 30 or 40 servers to 1 full-time employee. In our cloud services, we literally see like 3,000 or 4,000 to 1. So the challenge we set out on is, how do we take the learnings from our services and bring that to the private cloud? That was our target. Now, many people will ask me, what's the difference between virtualization and cloud?
This is a question I was just about to ask you, because a lot of people will say, well, what's the difference? Why is this not just virtualization? Because we're doing that already.
You know, Satya talked about, what's happening in the architecture of the applications. But as I think about that change and that move from virtualization to management, or to cloud, I think about as great virtualization coupled with great management. And that's what System Center 2012 is all about. So we've taken these 8 applicators, these 8 different services, these 8 different products, and brought it to one, not only from the technology perspective, but in our licensing and our packaging and our pricing, got that out in a way that's just super easy to now acquire, to deploy, and use. And what that enables is organizations to focus on the application. Our private cloud is an application-driven private cloud. And like Satya mentioned, you deploy infrastructure to host applications. But the other really key differentiator for us is we designed System Center 2012 from the ground up to enable the use of hybrid clouds. We know most organizations are going to be consuming multiple clouds. Clouds running in their data centers, in a partner data centers, in Microsoft's data centers. And they want one consistent, one holistic way to be able to look at all of that and manage their applications and services across all those clouds.
Because what a nightmare it would be to have to manage all those.
That's right.
Separately.
And so with System Center, you get that one thing. So one place, look at your private cloud, your public cloud. But not only that, you can take a look at different virtualization infrastructures, whether it be from Microsoft or from VMware or from Zen Server, and all that gets brought up in one consistent view through System Center 2012.
So, Brad, would you give me, paint a picture, if you would, for me, of the type of business and where they are currently in their business that would be really well suited to move in this direction?
Sure. One thing we believe is that every organization is going to have its own unique journey to the cloud. And based upon what their needs are, and maybe they're subject to different regulatory compliances, they'll have their own unique journey. What we really see a lot of right now is organizations taking and moving, for example, their front end of their services to the cloud, but then keeping their database or some of the data behind their own private, in their private clouds and their firewalls. We can enable all that through System Center. It's architected from the ground up to do that. We see organizations making that shift from virtualization to cloud, but now they have the challenge of managing cloud, their virtualized infrastructure, and they got a lot of physical servers still. All that comes together in one place in System Center, and it's a consistent, unified experience. It really delivers what customers need.
All right, that sounds good. So, Satya, as the president of the server and tools business, you're at the center of how Microsoft is approaching cloud computing, clearly. So what is your team focused on? Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, absolutely. Our overall vision is to cloud optimize every business. So that means we want to build a platform that we've historically done with our server products, but build them now for this new design point, which is the cloud design point, and build it as a comprehensive platform that speaks to the realities of our customers. And Brad described how it's a journey. People want to have infrastructure inside their own clouds, so private clouds. People want to be able to even consume services from a public cloud. So we're building a comprehensive platform, which is this public plus private cloud infrastructure. And we're very focused on 4 commonalities between the public and private cloud. One is identity. So any application that you want to deploy, you really want to have common identity across. The other one is virtualization. You want to be able to move a virtual machine between public and private. Application development frameworks and models so that you can deploy on the private or public, or in many cases, in fact, the reality is hybrid. So you want to be able to even take one application, and Brad talked a little bit about it, and split it. So the data is inside the private cloud, maybe the public facing or the device facing is on the private cloud. So some of those things are sort of things that our customers are doing. The last one is management. The notion that having a single pane of glass that allows you to manage your infrastructure inside your enterprise with a private cloud, in your data center, outside in a public cloud, or in other service providers. So that's really our strategy of enabling the realities of hybrid IT through a comprehensive platform that spans public and private.
Well, you used the word journey, and I think Brad did as well. This is a learning process as people make this journey, right? So Do people already understand the difference between private and public cloud? And how important is it to really understand that distinction in order to move in this direction pretty efficiently and quickly?
Absolutely. See, one of the things that Brad started talking about is we've learned a lot by running our own clouds. So if you think about it, what we've done with Xbox
Yes.
Live, Bing, in the consumer side, and Office 365, and even Windows Azure. Windows Azure runs on Windows Server today. So we're constantly learning about this new design point. What does it mean to scale infrastructure from storage and the compute and the network for these workloads? Taking that learning and embodying that in our management software with System Center, embodying it in our Windows Server products, that's really what we are trying to do. And you can't head fake your way into it, because if you're not using your products to run these cloud infrastructures at internet scale, you're never going to be able to build the right infrastructure to enable private clouds. So that, I think, is sort of the key thing we are very focused on. And customers, really, when we talk to them, what they want is a reliable infrastructure that gives them the ability to focus on their application needs versus worry about the availability of infrastructure or the ability for it to scale, and then get the operational and economic benefits.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point, too, because, you know, this idea of like just sort of MacGyvering or jerry-rigging your servers and your systems and your people, it's just going to have a gap later on that's going to cause you problems, right? So this idea of management, Brad, back to you, and adding this idea of planning ahead for the management. Do you want to add on to what Satya just said?
You know, one of the things that Satya has driven very hard through the organization is this notion of the design point for everything we build is the public cloud. One of the reasons why that's so important is if you design for the scale and the security of the public cloud, it's a lot easier to bring that to the private cloud than if you're, trying to do a design point that's much smaller than try to scale it up. So everything we do is really positioned at making sure that we scale and we're, secure at the largest possible scale possible, and then we bring that to the private cloud. There are certain things you can only learn by doing. And it's a remarkable environment to work in where, we have these public cloud services and infrastructure, and our developers are the ones who are getting woken up in the middle of the night if there's a problem. And I'll tell you, there's no substitute for that. There is no substitute for that.
They're living it. They're breathing it.
That's right. And so because they're living and breathing that, I can guarantee that what gets built is far more scalable, far more secure, far more reliable than if they weren't living that.
Yeah, because they know what it feels like to be in that situation,
right.
because they've been through it.
Again, no substitute
been there, done
for experience.
that, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Now, this public cloud design point, we've also taken that into our packaging and pricing. I just want to talk about that for a minute because it is very substantial. We're talking about all these benefits in terms of our knowledge of the application and the hybrid cloud, but we're doing it at an economic model that is just unparalleled in the industry. And so we've simplified the packaging and pricing. We've taken what was 8 separate SKUs, and we've reduced it to 2. And it's now as simple for a customer as saying, is it a physical server? Okay, you buy a System Center Standard. Is it a virtualized server or a cloud server? You buy a System Center Data Center. It's the same capabilities in both products. The only thing that's different is the number of OS or VMs that you're authorized to manage. And here's what's significant. With our data center version, you have the ability to manage unlimited VMs per server. And so you can scale your use of virtualization, you can scale the density, and your costs stay the same. Our competitors don't do that.
Interesting.
And I'll tell you, I just want to bring this kind of home in a very personal way. It was really interesting as we were kind of working through all the details and getting ready for this. I got one of these emails, it was literally last Wednesday, from AT&T, where one of my teenage daughters had overrun her data plan. I mean, not by a megabyte or two, 300 megabytes over the plan. Okay.
That is real.
So I'm talking to my daughter,
That's a real cost.
what are you doing? Because my cost just went up.
Did you say that to her? My cost just went up?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, and so organizations, IT wants the same thing with their virtualization and cloud. They want to have unlimited rights to scale their use and have their costs be predictable. That's one of the promises of the cloud, predictability. So in the same way that I want an all-you-can-eat data plan, I want an all-you-can-eat virtualization and private cloud solution, and we've packaged and priced that way.
All right, that sounds good. Well, I know that there's people who are listening, and they especially heard your story about this control and management and being able to just know what to expect and having it be easy. That being said, what if someone says, okay, I'm in, now what? What do you do?
I mean, I would say there are two real things that everyone should take away from this. One is they should do an assessment of their infrastructure needs. As we are talking to customers, I think many of them are looking at how should they scale their infrastructure to meet the needs of their application. So that assessment and having a strategy for it is perhaps the most important thing. in that context, I would say, with the announcement today, with the availability of System Center 2012, we would really encourage them to evaluate this product and see how it fits their strategy as they scale out their infrastructure.
And this assessment will reveal a lot, and you spoke about it a little bit earlier, to see where you are, how many people are you dealing with.
Yeah, we've simplified this significantly. You know, for example, we've taken these 8 products, and there's now a unified setup that literally, if you want to go do a proof of concept or put something in a lab, you know, it's just like you answer a couple of questions, and then the system goes and builds an entire private cloud for you with all these technologies integrated. You know, one of the other things that I commonly will also hear is, tell me about other organizations that are using this at scale. So let's give you a couple of data points. T. Rowe Price today is using the beta of System Center 2012 and has built a private cloud throughout all their data centers that they're using to now deploy, and they're going to use that to also then integrate with the public cloud. 2 more examples. Lufthansa, you know, one of the world's most recognized airlines, you know, operating in 16 different countries, today has a private cloud on Windows Server and System Center with more than 1,500 VMs in that private cloud, so running at scale in a distributed environment. And then finally, Unilever. Unilever, you know, and again, one of the most well-known brands in the world, over 2,000 VMs in their private cloud based on System Center and Windows Server. And they've got a very unique goal, which is to double their business without increasing their environmental impact at all. And they're going to use the Microsoft private cloud infrastructure to do that. That's one of the key portions of their strategy. So large organizations using it today, running at scale. And as Satya mentioned, with the beta bits, there are more than 100,000 servers deployed around the world in production today with the beta bits.
If you could characterize what's happening right now as maybe a final thought, what would you use? One word you would use to describe what's happening. We use the word transformation, but it's really much more than that.
Yeah, you know, so I really think it's a journey.
Yeah.
You know, I would use the word journey. And then what I would say is, you know, as the world moves from virtualization to cloud, and I talked about, you know, what that means is great management, System Center is the most commonly used tool in the world today to manage their Windows servers. And so as they're looking to make that transition from virtualization to cloud, they can do the cloud using the same tools that they're already using in System Center. So they're familiar with it. They don't have to be retrained.
A little bit of a migration, yeah?
Yeah, there is. But I think the key thing is you can continue to use the same tools that you're using today and just start to embrace the cloud. And so it's much more efficient. It's much a quicker way to get to private cloud.
Seems like people are much more comfortable with it that way, too. They don't fully make this massive leap. Then they don't know where they're going.
Yeah,
you took your word journey, so.
Yeah, I would say, you know, it's really about taking what you've done with virtualization and going beyond it. So today, if I had to sort of mark it as one of those moments where with System Center 2012, you can get on that journey of going beyond virtualization.
So yours is really, your word, if you had a final word on this, Satya, what would it be? The future?
It is really about the journey to the cloud,
Yeah.
would be my phrase at least.
Okay, well, thanks very much for joining us, gentlemen. Lots of great information this morning. Pleased to have shared it with everyone who's watching. Thank you.
Great, thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Well, still ahead, we're going to learn how Microsoft Private Cloud can help us face challenges both efficiently and effectively. And next, our expert panel discusses how companies exactly are taking advantage of Microsoft Private Cloud to increase productivity and maximize performance. But first, as you heard from Satya and Brad, customers are already using System Center 2012 for their private cloud solution. In fact, Brad just talked about T. Rowe Price. So let's break here for a quick view on how this global investment firm is doing that very thing today.
T. Rowe Price is a global investment management firm. We're committed to providing the best services to our customers, and IT is a major part of that commitment. We chose to move to a private cloud infrastructure to give us the agility to continually meet the needs of our clients. The benefits for System Center 2012 is actually twofold. One is in our ability to manage our technology, and secondly, in terms of our operating model of how we're going to manage this new environment. We're growing 25% per year, and cloud computing is our answer to make sure that we can be sustainable as we provide Windows-based solutions to our organization. Automation frees us from the repetitive tasks that an administrator has to do to maintain the environment, and now all of our tasks become more strategic instead of repetitive. The big thing for us that was very exciting to us around System Center 2012, that it gave us a platform which is analogous to what we're going to be doing today with clouds. You're talking about fabrics, now you're talking about a management platform that can manage that fabric as a single entity. I want to operate this environment as efficiently as possible as I can for T. Rowe Price in delivering those services to our customers. I could do that now at System Center 2012. It is truly a game changer, and we're going to take full advantage of it here at T. Rowe Price.